Good morning and welcome to the pre-proposal conference for RFPs 21 FY22 for English Language Arts ELA resources for grades K through 5 and 36 FY22 for ELA resources grades 6 through 12. I'm David Webb and I'm the Director of Procurement for Arlington Public Schools. Also representing APS during the conference are Sarah Cruz, the Supervisor of Elementary English Language Arts, and Sarah is also the Project Manager for both RFPs. Chris Brown, Enterprise Architect, and Kim Young, Senior Procurement Specialist. During the conference, the two RFPs will be reviewed. However, because they are very similar, only RFP 21 FY22 will be displayed during the conference. If there are any differences between the two that are considered important, they will be discussed. Questions are welcome and will need to be submitted in writing through the Q&A capability. Questions will be addressed at the end of the conference. It needs to be emphasized that even though this conference is provided to help offerers gain a better understanding of the two requirements, it remains the offerer's responsibility to be aware of the contents and differences of the two RFPs. As a reminder, APS has issued two separate RFPs and offerers can submit a proposal in response to one or both RFPs. If an offerer intends to respond to both RFPs, a separate proposal must be submitted in response to each of the RFPs. Finally, the proposal due dates and times for RFP 21 FY22 for K through 5 is Friday, February the 25th, and 36 FY22 for 6 through 12 is Monday, February 28th. And with that, I will now turn it over to Kim for the review of the RFPs.
Good morning. This is Request for Proposal 21 FY22, English Language Arts Resources for grades K through 5. The proposal due date and time is February 25th, no later than 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As stated before, the proposal due date for RFP 36 FY22 is February 28th, no later than 11:59 p.m. Sealed proposals shall not be received in response to the RFP at the Syfax Education Center by mail, express mail, in person, or by courier, but will do so instead electronically through a secure cloud-based file sharing platform. Firms wishing to submit a proposal in response to the RFP are required to upload the information requested in tabs 1 through 5 of Section 3, Proposal Requirements, into the platform through the link found on the current solicitations webpage under the Procurement Office website. A link to the webpage is provided below. To assist offerers with the proposal submission, screenshots to the steps required to submit a proposal are attached as Appendix L to this RFP, and I will review that later in the document. For a proposal to be considered for award of a contract, the proposal must be received in the platform by no later than 11:59 p.m. on February 22nd. Offerers are strongly encouraged to submit their proposals in advance of the proposal due date. Proposals received after the proposal due date shall not be considered. A non-mandatory pre-proposal conference will be held for this RFP and for RFP 36 FY22, English Language Arts Resources 6 through 12, today at 10 o'clock. Minutes of the conference, including but not limited to questions and answers presented at the conference, will be issued in writing by the Procurement Office as an information item and distributed in the same manner as an addenda as set forth below. All questions regarding this RFP, other than those submitted at the conference, must be submitted in writing and email addressed to myself, or Sarah Cruz and Sarah Cruz. So that should be addressed to myself and Sarah Cruz, the APS project manager, via the email stated in the RFP, and must be received by 5:00 p.m. on February 15, 2022. Addenda makes changes to the RFP and will be made only by written addenda issued by the procurement office as designated as an addendum for that particular way we communicate shall modify the RFP. Addenda will only be posted on the APS website on a public bulletin board in SIFAX. Offerors shall ascertain prior to submitting a proposal that all addenda issued have been received and shall acknowledge receipt and inclusion of all addenda by marking here or by including a signed copy of all addenda with the proposal. Information items, questions received timely in a response to this RFP, including those at the conference, will be answered by written information item issued by the procurement office. This RFP shall not be modified by an information item. Information items will only be posted to the APS website and on a public bulletin board in SIFAX. For trade secrets and proprietary information, please mark 1, check the box. State Corporation Commission identification number, please review this section and check the appropriate box. Debarment, please review this section and check the appropriate box. Type of business, please review this section and check the appropriate box. Multiple ELA requirements. Establishing a contract for English language arts resources for grades K through 5 is one of 2 ELA requirements being solicited simultaneously. The other requirement being solicited is for English language arts resources for grades 6 to 12 under RFP 36 FY22. For each ELA requirement on which a contract is awarded, that ELA requirement will have a separate contract. Offerors may submit a separate proposal on one or both of the ELA requirements, and the proposal for each ELA requirement will be considered independently. The proposal is submitted by, all of this section here should be completed and included in pages 1 through 5 of this RFP as the first 5 pages of the proposal response under tab 1. Special provisions, there's some background information here for you to read up on, and then also some research information here that compares other students to their APS peers, General information. APS is soliciting proposals from qualified offerors to establish a possible 7-year term contract with a minimum of 1 qualified offer for English language arts resources for grades K through 5. I'd like to point out that digital resources must be received by June 17, 2022, and the print resources must be received by July 22, 2022. The initial training must be completed by no later than August 25, 2022. The scope of work. For the purpose of this RFP, the purpose of this RFP is to solicit proposals to establish a possible 7-year contract term with a minimum of 1 qualified offer for English language arts resources for grades K through 5. Functional requirements are the specifics of what the district is looking for to satisfy the curriculum needs for ELA. Additionally, all resources must be compatible with our current technological infrastructure. All mandatory requirements will need examples from offer in the proposal. The offer will designate the functional requirements that they provide in the proposal. A detailed table for each section is included in Appendix G. Tasks to be performed. Offeror shall, in compliance with the required functionality criteria described in Part 2 of Appendix G, Technical Requirements, at the time of contract award and throughout the duration of the contract term. At the time of the contract award, the contractor shall provide APS with online accounts allowing for designated APS employees to access the contracted resources for review and planning purposes. Technical instructions. The offeror must submit the following information in the technical proposal in tab 2. And then here's a list of the items that are required in tab 2. Treatment of the issue. In this section, the offeror may also comment, if deemed appropriate, on any aspect of the RFP, including suggestions on possible alternative approaches to the coverage, definition, development, and organization of the issues presented in the tasks to be performed section, and may propose alternative approaches. Statement and qualifications. The statement of qualification must include a description of organizational and staff experience and resumes of proposed staff. And then here's some organizational and staff experience that you should review. The references, the personnel requirement, resumes and staff or proposed consultants are required, which indicate education, background, recent relevant experience with the subject matter of the project and with K through 12 districts of similar size to APS. Some more information to be included: escalation personnel, financial statements, which the offeror shall provide an income statement and balance sheet from the most recent reporting period. Consultation services. The offer is to confirm that if awarded the contract, its staff shall be available for consultation with APS on an as-needed basis between 8:00 a.m. and 5:00 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Cost proposal instructions. The offeror must submit a cost proposal in tab 3. The cost proposal should contain Appendix F pricing schedule, which identifies the contract price for each line item listed. And I will review the Appendix F pricing schedule shortly. Samples are required for this proposal, so you should read this section carefully. Date resources are to be made available. The resources for digital must be received by June 17th. And print, again, must be received by July 22nd. And digital and the initial training must be completed by no later than August 25th. All questions to this RFP shall be submitted in writing to myself and to Sarah Cruz. Please review the tentative schedule for the RFP in this RFP 21 FY22, as well as in RFP 36 FY22 for 6 through 12. Proposal requirements. Please review this section carefully. APS proposed contract documents and this RFP contain terms and conditions APS favors and intends to use for the resultant contract. If the offeror wishes APS to consider any changes to these documents, such changes must be submitted in writing in the proposal, and such exceptions shall be considered during the negotiations. Format and content. Please review this section carefully. It explains what should be included in each of the tabs required. Proposal evaluation process and method of contract award. A selection advisory committee will review and evaluate all responsive proposals received by the procurement office. The offeror shall state any exceptions to any provisions of the contract documents in writing in its proposal as part of tab 5. An offeror shall be deemed to have waived all objections to and accepted all provisions of the contract documents to which no exception is included in its submitted proposal, and in such event, no exception shall be considered during the negotiation phase. Any industry standard documents the offeror requests to have included in any resulting contract shall be included in the offeror's submitted proposal. Any documents the offeror asserts is an industry standard document not provided by the offeror in its submitted proposal shall not be considered during the negotiation stage or otherwise, and shall not be a part of any contract awarded. After the SAC has completed its initial evaluations of the responsive proposals received by the procurement office, when applicable, it will select offerors to participate in shortlist interviews to provide information that will clarify offerors' proposals. Selection shall be made of 2 or more offerors deemed to be fully qualified and best suited among those submitting proposals on the basis of the evaluation criteria stated in the RFP. Negotiations shall then be conducted with each of the offerors so selected. After negotiations have been conducted with each offeror so selected, APS shall select the offeror with which in its opinion has made the best proposal and provides the best value based on the evaluation criteria advertised in the RFP, and shall award the contract to that offeror. Proposal evaluation criteria. The evaluation process involves 3 stages: initial evaluation stage, shortlist interview stage, and negotiation stage. These are the criteria for the initial evaluation stage, the shortlist interview evaluation criteria, followed by the negotiation stage evaluation criteria. I will skip over the contract terms and conditions and go to page 43. Appendix A, Contractor Certification regarding criminal convictions. Please complete this document in its entirety. Appendix D, Conflict of Interest Statement. Please complete this document along with a notary's signature. Appendix C, Non-Disclosure and Data Security Agreement. This document should also be completed. Appendix D, you are to check the coverage present in the box and have your insurance agent sign here, and then the offeror should sign here. Appendix F, Sample Form Agreement. This is what the contract would look like. Appendix F, this is the pricing schedule for the RFP. Appendix G, Technical Requirements, Part 1, Functional Requirements. I will now turn over to Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Kim, for that thorough overview of our RFP. We're excited to present this to you today. This is the technical requirements, the functional requirements for the scope of work for the English Language Arts section. There are a number of boxes for you to look through: literacy instructional resources, intervention instructional resources, assessments, writing, handwriting, and then professional learning and coaching. I just want to point out a few things that we are hoping to see explicitly called out in your offering when you submit it. We're really looking for K-5 vertical alignment in writing, to include exemplars, graphic organizers. Additionally, I'll go over the 612 specifics in a minute. I'll just speak to the K-5 at this point. We're also looking specifically for where reading and writing is closely aligned, and Virginia standards are addressed simultaneously. So if you could provide the images and specific references in the materials where your resources do that, that would be wonderful. K through 2, any text decodables we're also looking for you to call those out specifically, and paired text. That's kind of just the specifics. You can see each box. Please attend to whether it's mandatory or desired. But what I explained just right now for K5 are the desired that we're really looking for you to emphasize in your proposal. I'll speak to the ELA 6 through 12 as well at this point. We are definitely looking for, of course, alignment to Virginia Department of Ed standards. And again, in our 6 through 12 resources, we're looking for vertical alignment in writing. So as you kind of look through that writing section boxes, please attend to each of the specific items there. We are looking for graphic organizers, exemplars, and that each of the skills are building from one grade level to the next. We're really looking for a resource that calls that out specifically. In the reading section, in the 612, as well as in the K5, we're looking for paired texts or texts that are building knowledge around a certain topic for our readers to go through. We're also looking, as you are able to, as your resources, weave in both the reading and the writing standard, that you demonstrate that explicitly. It's this assignment or task for the students is attending to both the reading and the writing, especially with any kind of writing assignments that are referencing the reading that has been given to the students as well. And then in regards to assessments for the 612, that's another section C, I believe, in the 6 through 12 RFP. If there are assessments in your resources that are specific to growth in literacy skills, students gaining discrete skills in word attack, and some of the underlying literacy, as opposed to just dealing with the standards, then be explicit with that in your proposal as well. I think that was it for me. Lori Silver is our 6 through 12 ELA supervisor. Lori, is there anything else you'd like to add as we're speaking to both RFPs at this time?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So just to add to Sarah's great presentation for the 6 through 12 component of our RFP, we also would like for you to attend to the intervention material side of it as well, in the ways that we want to address those 5 pillars of reading for our adolescent readers. And so you'll note also on the instructional side for reading, we're looking for perhaps decodable readers and those supports that go in place for students who are very much adolescents, and we don't want our materials to look like they're lower levels for students. We're also very much partnered with our Office of English Learners as well as our Special Education Office, and so we want to make sure that our materials address all of the needs of our students in grades 6 through 12 as well. So any ways that we can differentiate, give teachers support with their strategies for that, that is desirable to us. Thanks, Sarah.
Okay, and that concludes functional requirements for both the K5 and the 612 RFPs. The next step is Appendix G, the technical requirements, part 2, and I'll pass it to Chris at this time.
Good morning. The purpose of this section, there's really 2 purposes. One is to provide information to you about the technical environment that we maintain in Arlington Public Schools so that your offerings can be responsive to that. And the second is to allow you to provide technical information around the infrastructure and the integration aspects of your offering so that we can assess how they will integrate with our technology. It's not an assessment at the functional level like Part 1 is. It's more of a contextual assessment of the technology offering. Let's see. The structure is a little different. This isn't really a checklist per se, but sort of a cross-reference. So each element in these tables represents a particular topic or a particular subject that you can respond to, and what we've tried to organize it with is giving you reference points so that your responses can be indexed to those reference points. So if you're responding to, say, the integration with Clever, you can reference that section within the requirements document to say this is a response to that section. So you don't have to put anything into that third column. You can use our reference columns. You can make up your own and put that into the other column. If you're not responding to that element, you can just put an A into that column, and that's fine too. So it covers a couple of different zones. The first is a lot of general information about the technological environment, the devices that we provide, the systems that we use, and the general infrastructure that we have in place. There's a section on the network where we get some information on how your offering interacts with that, identity management and authentication. Then there's a more detailed grid in the second section about specifically identity and authorization, a breakdown of different options that we generally see for student accounts, for staff accounts, for administration accounts, those types of things, so that you can respond to each one of those classes of accounts separately, which is often the case. The third section is around systems management, your support structure, what sort of maintenance plans you have in place, what sort of technical support you have in place, and being able to document that. The next section is, it sort of gets more general as we go. These are the cybersecurity controls that we use internally for assessment. And so we've selected these and put them into the RFP so that you can have a chance to respond to them. These are how we assess internal systems. And so to some extent, they're broad categories of how we would assess any system that we are integrating into ours. These are taken from the Center for Internet Security Controls. They're based on the current version, version 8, and there are links there to cross-reference. There's a slight typo in the header there where the hyperlink got messed up, but that's a link to our security information policy. The link should work in the document, but that's also, you can get to that on our website as well. That reference is it's M12.4 is the policy that's referenced in that section. And then the next section is even broader, IT security standards. This is an attestation, or you can represent how your organization relates to some of these standards, whether or not you follow them, whether or not you adopt them, whether or not you have any certifications around them, to kind of bolster the representation of your offering. And then the last is around data, some specifics around data privacy. We've included some definitions of how we define certain types of data so that you can use those definitions if necessary. And then some specific questions about the types of data that your system may collect. And that's about it. And I guess I'll turn it over to Kimberly.
Thank you, Chris and Sarah. We will now jump to page 73, Appendix H, Student Data Usage and Privacy Agreement. So you are to review this document and complete it in its entirety. Appendix I, Publisher Certification and Agreement. You should review this document as well and complete it. Some more information about publisher certification. Here's the publisher's agreement. And then here's the area at the bottom where you should complete it in its entirety. Appendix J should be completed as well. Appendix K is a sample purchase order, what it looks like. Appendix L is the screenshots of the steps required to submit a proposal. And then you'll just go through and you'll see the different steps that you take to submit your proposal through the platform. Okay, I'd like to remind you that RFP 36 FY22 is due Monday, February 28th, and must be received in the platform no later than 11:59 p.m. And RFP 21 FY22 is due Friday, February 25th, and also must be received in the platform no later than 11:59 p.m. We will now open for questions, the question and answer period. Okay. Will the district accept electronic signatures on proposal forms, or are wet signatures necessary? Electronic signatures are acceptable. Could we provide bios instead of resumes? Sarah, what do you think about that?
I think that's fine.
Okay, so bios are acceptable. For RFP 36 FY22, will the district accept a proposal that encompasses only grades 6 through 8? Sarah?
Lori, is that going to be conducive to vertical alignment? To me, I feel like yes. Lori, chime in.
Yes, I absolutely agree. We would accept that. Thank you.
Thank you for providing the number of students per grade level. Can you please provide the number of teachers per grade level?
Yes, we can provide an estimate of that when we post our responses.
Thank you. Is the RFP for core only, or is the district interested in supplemental programs for intervention, standalone from core?
We are primarily looking for core resources for K through 5. We will consider supplemental resources for 6 through 12, if that's the only submission or proposal that you're providing.
For tab 2 of the technical responses, does tab 2 include section E, number 1 through 6, and the confirmation statement requested in section F? If not, where are vendors to include the responses for sections E, number 4 through 6, and the confirmation statement requested in section F? We will address that question in the form of an information item. Print samples are not required at this time, but during the short list stage, correct?
That is correct.
In which tab are the exceptions to any terms and conditions to the RFP to be cited in the response? Tab 5. If a company only offers ELA resources for grades K through grade 3, Would they automatically be disqualified, or would you consider awarding this contract to more than one provider?
We're really looking for a vertical alignment with K through 5, but there is a potential for an award for more than one provider.
We will provide additional information to this question in our information item. Can Arlington provide Appendix F from the PDF in an Excel spreadsheet so vendors can easily complete the pricing? If not, are vendors allowed to replicate Appendix F in Excel? We will provide the Excel document for your use. Do we need to submit for all sections in Appendix G?
No, you only need to respond to things that are relevant to your offering. It is a general assessment document, so respond to what you think is appropriate. But the more complete the response is, the better the assessment. So.
Will presentations, interviews be in person or virtual? Those will be virtual. Page 18, blue ink is noted. Would you confirm electronic signatures? Yes, electronic signatures are acceptable. How many samples will be requested if selected for short list interviews?
We'll address that in the information items in writing.
Thank you. Do you want references? Yes, references are requested in the RFP. Please review that section. On page 18, I don't see a page limit. Want to check that I am not missing it. We'll review that and provide a response in the information item. Our materials are aligned to the Common Core standards. Is a correlation document to the VA SOLs acceptable?
Yes, that is acceptable.
For K through 5, are you requesting one resource, or can we submit for one of those components, such as just the handwriting option? We would like for you to submit for the entire K through 5.
Correct.
For pricing, can we include options? No options. We would like for you to complete the Schedule F form the way it is presented. The attachment F form, I mean, the way it is presented. Samples. Do you want to receive samples with submission or just in the shortlist stage? If so, is there an address to send?
Samples are just for the shortlist stage.
Thank you, Sarah. Are you looking for Spanish literacy resources for your Emerson schools?
Good question. We'll address a little more specifics and detail in the information items about Spanish.
Thank you. We are supplemental intervention software for reading and writing. Can we submit this RFP?
Go ahead, Kim.
We will address this further in our information item. Do the VA SOLs have to be actually listed on the TG resources, or is an alignment okay? We will address this question in the information item. Does type of business disqualify us if we don't qualify for minority or women-owned business? No. Are there any more questions? That was my last question. If there are no more questions, this concludes the pre-proposal conference for RFP 21 FY22, and RFP 36 FY22. Thank you.